on our floor cross member. Wish me luck, everybody. I shall now marker pen out all the little dimples, give you a little bit of a preview halfway through rather than take you through the whole process. Let's get you through there. So book your express ticket now. This train is not going to stop. This is a direct service from one side of Bramble to the other. First class compartments are situated at the front of the train in carriages A and B. Dining car situated in second class carriage F. Snacks and refreshments available on board. Take this opportunity now to get yourself nicely, suitably refreshed. A bit of the old amber nectar, a bit of cockfosters. What's your tipple? A little JD on the rocks, maybe straight, who knows? Could be an Italian coffee. We know some people there leaving us comments on the Italian coffee. Great stuff, Lavazzo, very good. What's your tipple? Lemonade, Ribena. We've got some young audiences out there too. We welcome father and sons watching out there as well. Appreciate that. Hope you're learning, hope you're enjoying. Enough rambling, Pete, come on, get that out. Boom. Whoops. Boom. 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 These are quite easy to see. It's so easy to be in love with you, girl. You make it easy. It's the little thing that you do. I've never been closer to a scrap Cortina. Keep it cleaner, Cortina. Right, so keep on going. You did a little hopscotch and a leapfrog then. Do you know that? You just hopscotched over the transmission tool in YouTube land. They're very easy to see. Not even needed to sandpaper these. Could it be an advantage of dipping, or is it just that these are easy to see? Get drilling. Okay, that is 60 odd spot welds drilled out, and a tip for you, if you're using one of these spot welding bits, dip it in WD-40 or a similar lubricating oil, a cutting oil. The cutting compound will probably be better than WD, but it works, keeps it cool and lubricated, and with 60 cuts we've still got plenty of life on them teeth, still sharp. You can see the pinnacle. You might not be able to quite get this on the macro. I'm just seeing if I can get you. It's so cliche, that's on YouTube, you see. Oh, there you go. It's got it. Got to hand it to this camera. It has its moments. So we're still in one piece. By the way, these adjust the depth. There's a little Allen key. When you take the shaft out, you'll see it. And you can turn that. And I think that sets the depth. Do you want me to tell you who make it? Just so you know. Look, this is made by Kennedy. Quality industrial tooling spot weld remover. Screw on reversible cutter. Does it tell you about... Whoops! What the hell? It's all the WD-40 on my hands. Yeah, look. Cutting depth by screw. Permits top panel to be removed, leaving lower blank panel. Cutting depth by screw. Oh yeah, that's it is. At the top is a spring inside. Fine adjustment, so you can set that so you don't blow through into your second panel. It looks like it's set already, because I heard some of these pinging as I was going along, and if you do it alternate on the floor pan run, at least this applies, left and right, you're actually sort of making a wave as you go along, and you can feel the floor pinging away. Obviously it stops when it gets to the chassis leg, but then you can't, it does help, you give you a bit of guide, you can hear them pinging. So you kind of like, because you don't always know when you're through, although the depth gauge on that does stop you going anymore. So I've just gone till I couldn't push anymore. I'm sure that some of these will be caught on the edges, but you know, we might get quite a good hit here, and this might come off in one nice neat piece. We'll get the chisel now and we'll start lifting it. I don't want to really start bashing it, because I did say I'm going to eat my own words otherwise, that I don't like bashing spot welds. I like them to just, I know that that's the ideal situation, you're never going to get that. Of course you're going to have to knock a few, but not so much where you're actually causing damage to the panel itself. Okay, I'm going to get the chisel and we're going to start pinging with Pingu. Okay, we're going to start rocking this out. Straight away I could feel when I leant on that. There you go, did you hear that ping then? I knew that was going to go, and look how much now play we get in the sill itself. Dangerous times. And then we've got to try and have a look to see where it's still attached. It's bound to still have something on it. Can you see things moving it? I'll just get you on the... Let me stick you down, hold on. Just can you hold on? It's all going to wobble around for a sec. We're not pro. Let's just try and get you angled right. I think you can see there. Stay with me. See movement, everyone. What we're going to look at is just find the odd straggler that maybe not caught. I'm looking closely as I go. I think that section is all gone. I think it's now just up to the top, on this side at least. I've got one of the nibs, got the old weld stopping me from lifting, so I'll have to just hook it over. They can get caught on their own nibs that you leave on the welds. But we might still be attacked on one of them. On the inner sill may still be attached. Can't quite tell yet. There was one just okay, another one's gone. Now you can see I don't want to flex it too much. Okay, I'm going to bring you in, I'm going to change angles. You're going to stay on the pod and you're actually going to go round in a continuous take. You'll hear the magnets of the tripod pinging as they grip onto the floor pan. You're on the tripod, on the job be magnetic. I'm going to try not to shake the camera because you're connected to the floor pan. I think it's that one. Light in, coming from your side so it's better exposed. There you go. It looks like, yep, it's the weld is actually on the edge of this one. Somebody's missed that. The factory have gone on the edge of it. So what I'll do, while you're on, stay with me, get in the drill bit. We're going to take the edge off that. We're going to get the edge of it. Okay, pilot. Main drill bit now. Bit of a boof there, sorry, bang. Right, the edge of that, it's just caught the edge. Boom! See that? And boom! That was under tension, that's why you just gotta... Now where does that take us to? That lifts us there. We're now moving up this way, pointing the camera up so you can see exactly where we're off. Up. Slowly go up this way now and see what we can find. No damage to the panel yet. I can see movement here. I'm going to take you across so you can see what I'm looking at. Again, magnet grabbing really strong. The magnet. Ping, ping, ping. You're back down. You've landed. The Eagle's landed. Houston. We don't have any problems. That was Apollo 13, not 11. Right. Look. We're good to go there. See what I mean? So, because of that, we go round again. I'm going to now put... Right, what we got? You wobbling? Okay, needs a little bit more on the drill on that side. We're all clear that side. I'll just keep going along. We're getting there. One was just caught there right at the very edge, and I said that might happen. And curiously, it was one that was drilled outboard. And lo and behold, it was actually inboard. I'm carefully climbing across. The chassis rail supported on blocks underneath, so we are okay. And now I would say we're there, stuck there. We're not here. I can see how it's lifted, so we're pretty much down to probably only two holding it on, unless there's any gone on that side. Let's shake this one. Let's give it a little bit of a shake and see what happens. I don't know why it hasn't gone. It's fully through on the drill. So where are we stuck there? Can we see? And why? Ah, look, the drill's gone in at an angle. It hasn't quite caught the last bit of metal, look. Hold on. I can't get any more than that. It can't be that. It must be on the edge. Come on, because I don't want to bend this. Where are you stuck? Can't be anywhere big. It's got to be just at that edge. Do we go for the chisel now? We've managed it so far without a chisel. Should I not be so hard on myself? I just wanted it to clinically come off. Whoa! I don't know why I like this, but I do. I just find it quite satisfying when you get that ping. It's just so... I'm having fun here, you know. I'm like, I can't remember who said it. Was it Andy Lander? Not hello Andy. Hello John from Norfolk as well. Oh yeah, well we're on. John from Norfolk. Boom! He just said you like a pig in muck. He's right. But we keep it clean. Now you're going to tell me, what animal's clean? Well, we know piggies are clean. It's going. Can't be much. There cannot be much on this. Just one more weld holding it on now. Reckon it'll go. It'll go crack any second. going. Gunner, gunner, gunner. Pretty neatly taken off, not bad at all, everybody. That's quite good. I can't actually see when I stick my head down like this. I can't see the top bit of my glasses, so I don't know where I'm looking. But that wasn't bad. Just a few little levers. That was all. Pretty neat. Let's take you up for a wide shot now. Thank you. Now we know what we're up against. Super. Just show you the panel that's not been damaged. There you are. A good little template that we may need later on. Okay, that was the name of the game. Mission completed. Time to extract the floor. This side's so badly gone we're going to chop it. That leaves us the floor virtually exposed, ready to come off with some more spot welds up on the chassis leg here to do, but we're going to do a section at a time of the floor, so part coming up now. Here we go. My favourite station is Absolute Radio 80s. Adverts are tolerable, music is great, so many forgotten 80s classics. When I grew up going out clubbing in the 80s, from 1984 right the way through. Okay, continuing on, we've marked a yellow line. There's the pan. Rested the pan in now that there's no cross members. Cut that cross member there because that's discarded for sure, so there's no problem with that. Took some more measurements. 136mm cross between the bottoms of the B posts by hooking the tape measure on the inside lip, so you're always going to do the same operation. Then we carry on drilling spot welds for the remaining section of the car chassis there, just underneath the yellow line. The yellow line is not a cut line, that's the rough landing position of the pan. We're going to cut well underneath that by an inch. The reason for this is we can't sit the pan properly on until the floor is fully removed. We can't fit the floor, we can't cut on that line because that's not a true cut line. Once the floor's out and it's sitting flush onto the chassis and also flush up against the inner sill, there's the inner sill there, that needs cleaning up. We've got to get the old floor out of the way, clean the remnants of the old floor edge that connects to the inner sill so that it's coming up what's left of the inner sill. When we try and clean that back, parts of the inner sill will also disintegrate, but at least it'll give us the position that it lands on. Once it pushes up against the inner sill, hold on, then we can start squishing it down a bit over this side and getting an idea where it's going to land. This is quite a critical cut. We want to get it really perfect. Could be difficult, this, and to get that cut I think it's going to take a lot of clamping just to get it right. It looks like they've picked that line there because it's the straightest line along to make your floor pan without having to go round these bits. Now some of my floor is alright, but on the whole, if you look at it, it's gone there along and then it's thinning out a little bit there, then it's gone there. Just enough intact there where that line is where I've already cut some of the floor out. Some spot welds there where the engine gearbox mount bracket is, although they're getting moved because it's having the A4 box, so we actually don't need those, but to get at the floor pan to land in nice, I'm going to use them as the reference point, so I'm going to rest it on that. It'll help me welding it up. Okay, so we lose some seatbelt mounting points, we lose the handbrake cable bracket, which is just coming up right into your screen there. You see 4 spot welds, that's the bracket which does the handbrake adjusting bracket underneath. We can easily fit, that's not a critical position, but we'll copy it off the old section of floor. So we want to cut an inch below that line first, then take out all the rubbish, clean the inner face of the sill. There's the inner sill, look. And you can see here, where my orange fingers touch, 3 pieces of metal. The first piece on the outside, to the right of your screen, is the bottom of the sill lip edge. The second piece sandwiched between it is the inner sill. That has the seatbelt points on it and it forms part of the box section of the car. Then the last piece of metal out of the three is this lip here that you see that it totally mint on the new floor edge. Although it's a bit rusty, we'll clean that up. So 3 pieces of metal come together here. We're interested in taking just the remnants of the old floor off to leave the inner sill metal on, because that's part of what's going to get replaced, but it's going to make the floor land in just the right position. It's not massively critical, but that's going to be our guide. So if I get the angle grinder and cut below that yellow line and make sure that there's no further spot welds, indeed we need to now remove the welds we used when we were holding the chassis leg in place, and then we can peel it out, some there on that chassis fork to pull out. There's a jack now underneath the car which is very important, and that is now pushing the new sill into the old chassis, not the new sill, the new chassis onto the old chassis, which hasn't moved at all. So it's actually crushed in place. Now we could put some welds on there. I'm just going to leave it on the jack because we may well be replacing this chassis and I don't want to make it difficult to remove. And indeed we won't be plug welding it back when the floor pan goes down, because there's no point welding it on and having to take it off again. So this next piece of chassis leg may be getting replaced. If I find a new old stock one, or in stores I find one that's can be dipped, acid dipped, cleaned and brought back like new, we'll do it. Now that we've got a good technique for drilling spot weld bits without using that horrible chisel, and like if you look on, I think one of my early restos might have been Swampy, we're just bashing the hell out of things, and whilst it worked at the time I'd rather this way, and it just seems less noise and more clinical operation. Of course there's always times when you've got to hit them, but taking this cross member as an example, I didn't actually have to strike anything, just a few extra drills and a little bit of a blow, but not much, then a wobble and it was out. So it's slitting disc on to go along there. I must remember to go under there. I'll now redraw a cut line on it. And then we should be able to peel this off. We'll have to grind those out there. And then we should be able to peel this off. Okay? And then you'll have a big gaping hole. But the floor pan will quickly slot in, you'll be surprised. Of course, the trickiest job, I suppose, is just cleaning up this inside sill. It's just going to be a bit flaky. A lot of it will probably just disintegrate off and it'll go back to the actual main sill. But we need it out of the way because it's going to stop the floor pan from going snug. So I shall now cut. The next shot you'll see will be a big gaping hole where the heart used to be. Okay, the floor pan slots in quite good. I've just cleaned up that inner face just with a flap wheel there and went along this inner face here just to get it smooth so that this will now come and meet it properly. So it wants to come across a little bit. This will close up a little bit too, So this is where these measurements now come in. We screw that together with a bracing piece and hold it at 112. And then we also check our other measurements. We've got our 136 sill to sill lip to go off across there, so we brace that up. So now we make a bar for ourselves. You could have argued that you put the bar in first, but I won't be able to work with a bar in a way, and I know the measurements what they should be. Nothing else has moved. I'm pretty confident about that. This fits in nicely, follows the contour of that front lip and slides straight under as planned. So great, and there's our oversized cut line. So now we do the real size cut line, and it's all up to me how we do that join now. I'm thinking of a butt weld. It's quite a big job. It's a lot. Well, I'll say it's a big job. At least you don't have to do this side. So you only really got to go round. It's not mega. It's just whether I lap join or butt weld. I can't decide. I'm going to go on Google and just see what you reckon the best way is. If you lap join it, you'll see it from underneath. You'll know it's had a floor pan. If you butt weld it, you can grind both sides back and you'll not know it's had the floor pan. So it's difficult. Profile of the pan's okay as well, because it follows nicely the bracket which we've just put back on to check. So it's going to meet that. In fact, look how nicely it's sitting, and we're back on our original spot welds, which is one of the reasons it's a good job we kept that. What a great idea, reference piece. So that's paid off. So we were reverse engineering. We might even have a bonus in that the spot weld arms may even fit under enough to spot weld the actual floor pan to the chassis leg, which will be great. If we can do that, I'll be very happy. I think we've got enough room, and indeed you could actually pull the sill off now and you'd definitely get the spot welder in it. This sill's not really doing much. Once we've got the pan in the right position, we don't need the sill anymore. It's not really performing any strength operation particularly. Although we've got our pillar to pillar measurements 111, so we can take the sill off, then get the arm of the spot welder in and get a really good run of spot welds along there once we've prepped the surfaces with the weld through primer. But obviously we need to make the cut at the top. We've got to decide how we're going to do it. It would be quite nice to just weld straight along there. How easy would that be? But it's not going to be factory if I do that. How easy would it be just to clamp and weld along there and have no problems? You'd be on in no time. But I know when you cut and you butt weld, it's just better, but so much more work. Getting that cut exactly right will be really tricky and will take some skill. We're going to have to really concentrate on that. This is a point where I would like some advice and help on. I've done plenty of butt weld joins before, and you've seen me do the front end on this in the previous projects. If not, if you've just joined us in episode 11, scroll back through the videos and you'll see that we did plenty of welding. It's just that a run this long and with these curves on it and stuff like that, there will be people out there who know exactly how that goes. I believe the Mark 1 Escort boys do a lot of floor pan repairs, so I'm going to go and have a little hunt around. In the meantime, it's looking pretty cool. I'm tired. I need to get some food and a nice beer, because I think we've done well today and we're really progressing quick. I knew this would get a big bang for your buck, because such a large area of metal is removed so quickly. You get a huge bang for your buck when you do something like this. I never anticipated any problems here, and I haven't. It's just all about just applying the skill correctly. We'll see you tomorrow for a bit more of episode 11. I'm going to have a rest and a beer and some food and a bath. That's if the cat's not pinched the bath plug top. She runs off with it, and last night I had to use a carrier bag to bung my bath up. Then I found it in my bed. See you in a bit. Okay, continuing on with the floor pan fitment from yesterday. Tech screws now, everybody, just drilled in these tech screws using a little drill bit, magnetic end in the drill. So the little magnetic end of the drill will grip the tech screw, ping, in it goes. Get a little magnetic bit from Tool Station or Screwfix. Get these from Tool Station or Screwfix. 6.6, I think, by 30, 25s. I'm not sure what length they are, but hold on, they are. Here we go. It's what I used. These bad boys are pop. Tech fast. Okay. Go along and get that pan right up to that tunnel, as tight as it'll go, every lip. Then At the same time, make sure that the edge of the floor pan is sitting flush with the lower edge of the remains of our sill, which is just about salvageable. If you didn't have a sill, you'd be better getting your sill, cleaning up the area and just putting the sill temporarily in place to give you an idea of the run, to make sure that you go nice and parallel along, and you can see how it's going to join the inner sill. Check your heights. Here we're a little bit tight in that corner just by the nature of the way that the pan's bashed out. Here we're up to the little recess. You see a little recess in the floor, and that slots nicely underneath it. We lose just a little bit there. It's probably where they've trimmed just a little too much off the front of the floor pan. Bear in mind these are Repro floor pans. Good fit along there, I must admit. Just a few little taps were needed just to curl it in and get it tucked snug up against the panel. A little bit rough down this end, it's not printed in there, so I'm knocking that. It might be a little cut here. That's stage 2 of the job. I don't need to worry about that until I'm up to that part of the car. So far so good for this. Then, using weld-proof primer, I use the Ep12. I normally use that pink stuff, as you know, but I don't want to be painting that on there because it's going to dribble. Why am I using weld-proof primer? Why not just use a pen? The pen can quickly fade out. You can lose it. This is such a critical cut. The weld-through won't get affected when we're doing the welding. It's not going to start interfering with the weld. If it was spray paint, primer or something like that, you'll have problems with it burning. With the weld-through, we're able to spray a line all the way along. In fact, let's continue doing it because I haven't finished. I broke off for you viewers at home, so I continue, and I don't want it to run, so I'm going light. And I'll just go over it, because if it runs, it's going to go and lose that nice line that you've got. Also, you want to spray parallel, not down this way in, because if you go down, you're getting a false reading. If there's slight gaps, which there are slight gaps, so go in parallel, perpendicular to that edge. It's going to create a mask for us to use to make the cut. All the way along we go. Now back again, coming up this end, speedy for you. Move this scrap metal out of the way. Again, weld through. Perpendicular as best we can with the cam. Commuters in your computers. Commuters with your computers as best we can with our cam. All the alliteration. I'm ready for you. Okay, I think that's enough. That will give us the line. So what we do now is we'd unscrew those, take it away and make the cut, that dreaded cut, that scary cut. Get it wrong, it's going to be a nightmare. So we go for the cut, which will be actually right up to the metal. There's not going to be the 1mm clearance. So we might have to just slowly file back and go along stage by stage, slowly feeding that in. Using the butt welding clamps, I'll show you those in a minute. We've seen them earlier on when we're making another panel, but they're going to clamp in. We're going to start getting our tacks in. Clamp and tack, clamp and tack. We'll put 4 clamps in at first, 4 sets of tacks. Then we'll go for it again, but we'll evenly space them out. We don't want to group it together because of warpage. So, there's luckily no welds down this end, and these are just plugs, they're dead easy. So it's only really that run, so it's not that bad. And then a little run across at the back, so it's not too bad. Let me unscrew this and make that dreaded cut. Wow, here we go. Floor pans, everybody. Floor pans. The line now appears. We lifted the pan off. All those tech screws quickly out with a drill on them. Down we go so you can see how it's worked. Now we're hoping that that's an accurate line. Not much to cut off, so you can see why it was an advantage to undercut on our initial fit so that you have this remaining piece to use. Just about made it in that corner. Look, no room to spare. Just did it. So it says slitting disc will do this. Just bring it up and we'll go just before we start to hit the paint, very, very carefully. We need to get that in a continuous cut. there may be a better tool out there that could do that cut for us better than a slit disc. Problem with a slit disc, you really need to be running continuously, because if you stop, you get kind of join lines where you've stopped the slitting disc operation. You have to be really careful with it. It wouldn't actually take that long to cut that. Probably be done in 5 minutes, you know, going along, get a torch and do it. And we'll see how it goes. I'll start that now. I've got the slit disc ready. Get the torch. I'll just make initial tests and see. I've never done anything like this before, so I'm learning here. I can't see any reason why when you cut that and then you offer it back up, it should almost fit too tightly, if you will. Whether we can push it apart 1 mil, we might be able to, so that we don't have to overcut into the silver, because the silver represents an exact fit, whereas really we're looking for 1 mil spacing to infill with the weld. That way the weld goes through into the other side of the car. If you do it right close up, you then really need to get the weld so it's penetrating through both the steel straight through it, which also can be done. Anyway, it's time to make the cut. Wish me luck. Here I go. Well, there's the cut. It wasn't too bad. Just used the torch. Sorry I didn't film that because my tripod's gone AWOL. Use the torch and just with the slit disc, very carefully, just let it fall into the cut. Don't push it in, just let it find its own way, and look at the edge of the disc. So if I get it, I'll try and demo it now. I've actually done it and I know a way that works as opposed to doing it on the fly before. Just let the disc edge find its way. From that angle you can see it, and you could see the sparks glowing, and I used the lots of the glowing edge of the disc to follow just under the paint line. Just let it feed its own way through, rather than pushing it. And it took about 5-10 minutes, probably 10 minutes. Let's see if the floor pan fits. Okay, I've offered that up, and bar a little bit of flex out in the tunnel itself, we start to join up. You can see there, so we've got plenty of points to get it. We have to push in here because the tunnel moved a little bit, because the tech screws would have pulled it in. We're nice there, pull in there a little bit, but we'll get it. Probably the worst bit's probably that gap there, but this probably needs moving up a little. In fact, that's closed it up. There we go. So still a bit of a wander there, but overall, with the butt spacing clamps, we'll get that. Not bad for a first attempt on a floor pan. So that's going to be a nice weld line along there once we're done. Lots and lots of tacks to go on. Loads and loads, a good half day's work I would have thought, but I'll leave it there for this evening. I've been out on the road filming abandoned cars today. You'll see that video go up. It's probably up by now before you see this actually, the abandoned Jaguars. So there's our cut. Looks like we'll get it, and there's a little bit of shuffling around, but there's enough there for us to work with. Looks like we can just get going straight away. I don't really have to file anything back. Always knew it would be a little bit tricky, but actually doesn't look too bad now. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Just a step back and an overview for you. Sometimes I'm in too close, aren't I? You want to get wider angles on this car. I'm sorry, I'll keep thinking on that. There we go. That's better. You can get a view of what's going on. So we'll leave it there for tonight. Right, we're staying flush, courtesy of the clamps, blown through there, but I've patched it back in. I reckon it's better you weld from the top and come back into the weaker metal, because this is weaker metal. Sometimes it'll blow through it. So you just got to learn your technique. I'm still getting it, but we're doing alright. So we've got the last corner. This is a tricky corner just to draw it in. It's kept its shape everywhere else. Just go down. We've kept shape. We've got to go, obviously keep going in, but we're starting to get strength as I step in it now. It's starting to gain its strength. Going to go in this corner, start winding these in then, and you'll see the panels start to close together, and these ones start to loosen off. You just got to turn them evenly in turn in a wave, and then if you want to help a bit more, just lock on, get a bit more purchase with some self-locking pliers. I can see it bringing the panels together there. These are quite handy because they're quick release, some Hansen quick release grips with one hand. So bringing in, you'll see this drawing together. I think you can just about see it in your viewfinder. Then this one, I'll get the pliers on those ones, get them nice and tight. Then we're ready to get the tacks, and you can see that now beginning to close up. Just there. You can use a bolster as well to help tap along if you think you're not getting it. Just curl the metal a little bit. Just a ball peen as well, help. Just bring it together. This is probably the tightest area because it's in a corner. Then it's starting to close up here. It might be just oversized just there, which isn't bad if that's the only error we've made. Looks like we're right close up there. Not a bad cut, that. I'd say there was only one problem, that was here where my cut went wrong. Other than that, look how close it is. It stayed close and true all the way. Tacks are in, and we're ready to get in that final corner. So floor pan, whoops, and then what we're going to do, it's still loose on the chassis leg. We don't attach it to the chassis leg yet because you want to make sure you're right up against the inner sill, and you might have to just stretch and pull on this floor pan a little bit, although it doesn't look like it. Looks like it's followed the profiles everywhere. There's movement in the sill, look. That's when we refer back to this and we make sure, but it's looking within 2mm tolerance, maybe 3mm in some places. Okay, so I'm quite pleased with that. I'm going to get the tacks in there, tighten the rest of those clamps up, and I'm going to get the rest of the weld tacks in, and then I decide how I'm going to start infilling all these welds and then dress them up. So quite a lot of work, a couple of hours so far, not as bad as I thought. It's all down to that cut. You get that cut right, that's half the battle. The rest is just whether you can master the MIG, which is what I'm still trying to master. It's slowing down on the wire speed. I think it's what I think it was Guy on YouTube called Mark. Hi Mark, thanks for your welding tips. He's been helping me by leaving comments, and so have a lot of you. So thanks for everyone that's leaving constructive welding tips and other tips on abrasive wheels, gloves, eye protection and everything. We're listening to what you're saying, or I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm trying to comment back to you to thank you for your assistance on YouTube. Fantastic, what a great resource YouTube is. Constructive resource, not a waste of time, it's not zombing out, it's constructive and great. Tacks in then, welders on, to hear a bit of welder noise in the background, that's why I'm talking a bit louder, so I'm wary of that. Okay, tacks. The clamps are tightened up, but I thought it might help you in YouTube land to show you how they look from the back in case you've never used these type of clamps before and you're wondering exactly how they actually work. You can see Pete doing it on one side of the car, but what's going on the other side, you might ask? There you go. Those little bars you see. Those Allen keys you can see on the end of each bar, that's for if it's different thicknesses of metal. You can adjust them in to compensate for different metal thicknesses if you're joining two types of thickness of metal together. We're not, so they're all screwed back out the way flush. So look how it grips each side of the metal and pulls it in tight. Perfect for doing what we're doing. Hope you can see that all right. The floor pan's only just survived. This car didn't have long left before it was beyond it, or a complete floor pan. That centre section just about saved it. That was close. So Bramble's had a close escape for sure on that central section. It was starting to even attack that, and that's normally the last thing to go. Okay, now time to weld. Okay, we're doing good and we're ready to do the continuous infill welds now to get a nice long seam line. So one patch just gone in, continuous, break from there. Although I don't think it's going to go anywhere now since it's all tacked in. So the little screw fix light, these are great, 25 quid, rechargeable. If the battery does go, you can run it straight off the lead. Essential for this, because you can just see exactly where you are. All set up on the welder, all ready to go. So we're going to go along, get some welds. It's going very nicely. I'm very pleased about how the floor has gone in. So I'm going to give myself an 8 out of 10, an 8.5. I'm going to be generous to myself. I'm so happy with what I've done. I've never done this before. The plan has worked and everything seems to fit nicely. Look, all good. Okay, we're going to break now. Put you on the tripod and let's get some welds carrying on. Floor pan. Great. Okay, a drilling and a grinding later, and we're back to a flush fit now. Couple of little bits where it waves in, but 90% is flush with the grinding wheels. We used a combination of belt sander, crock sander, file sander, power file, flat disc, cutting disc, slitting disc, and a jerry Heart special, Jerry Hart with a heart of gold, who sent me these. Thank you very much out there, Jerry, in Patreon land. These are great. Not so much in here because it's a bit of a contoured shape, but where it has gone in, it has done a good job. For example, in there takes off those weld heads once you've just took the rough weld edge off with a grinding stone. Finish in with this super wheel. Wow, a great piece of kit made by Sia. I like it, so thank you, Jerry Hart, for that. The kind man in Ireland sent me them out in the post, and I've had a few other gifts too, so I've got to appreciate everybody who's helping us out and sending stuff through the post. Every little bit helps. $1 here, a sanding disc there. Lee Holmes at the controls plugging us and supporting us with some donations, and very good ones, and some very nice links to help promote the channel. And he took us into the stratosphere, did our Lee Holmes. Hello Lee, and thanks. Whoops, paint all over me there. Cuts, paints, gloves. Right, that area's done. I can now plug weld in that floor lower bulkhead piece. Then I can remove this sill. There's no need to have this sill here now. We know where it's supposed to sit. It's virtually coming out anyway. Don't worry about this moving. Everyone seems to get really worried about all this. There's not much to the car. The structure up there is nice and safe. Your bonnet's sitting good, and I'm not even really trying to tweak the bonnet. We need to adjust the bonnet hinges and get it to sit how we want. But that's just so I know what I'm up against. Everything's first fix. We can skim that in with our alley filler if we want, so it's sealed up while it's still shiny metal. It always is better putting it on clean metal than when it's rusted over. We've got some holes where the tech screws were. We need to go and plug them up now. I suppose that's a bit of a mission, needs doing. And then we can spot weld on the actual chassis leg. I'm happy with the measurements here and how it fits. When I clamp this up against that lip of new floor pan, it draws this where we need it to be, and this can sit at 136 across lip to lip. So I'm confident to take out the sill. It's really performing no structural benefit really. An advantage of taking the sill out is that the long arms of the spot welder will give us spot welds along the majority of the chassis leg, and it's now time to put the chassis leg in, so giving us even more strength. It's important to, whenever the opportunity to reintroduce the strength arises, it's best to take that opportunity. Once the sill's out, we're going to start repairing the lower A panel, starting from that side where we've got some crusty lower A panel. Again, the Portuguese bottom piece will make a repair. That's ready. We're going to get stripping that down. We've got a new piece from Express for the bottom, which we got in the sales. Whilst it's sacrilege to butcher it, it's in the sales. If you need the top part of it, you're welcome to have it. I'm taking the bottom piece. It won't get wasted. The top part will be saved. We're going to graft in the bottom piece. That alleviates this problem of thin metal here, and trying to fix that. Measure, and then the sill's going to slot into it very nicely because you have a perfect new metal to new metal. Sill's already in the wings and waiting. Before the sill goes on, we need to repair the bottom of the B-pillar curve, but don't worry too much about that at the moment. Progress is going very well, and I'm really happy with the floor pan installation. Drilled a couple of holes in it already, 38mm hole saw through there. Would be better with a punch, I think. Punch gives you a bit more of a rolled edge. However, they didn't actually have rolled edges on the cut, so once the floor bungs in, so that doesn't make sense what I just said. Once the floor bungs in and the seam sealer goes on, you're good to go there for a factory finish. The oval cutouts for the chassis leg run, you'll see the oval cutouts there, aren't supplied punched in this floor pan. We drill some lower holes, I think 24mm times 2 for each end of the oval, and then we slit between and join the circles up to create the oval, then oversize it out to, I think it's 26mm diameter across. That gets us where we need to be with the appearance of the floor pan. A couple more holes to drill there for the floor bungs. Main mission for me just right now, so that it's done and out of the way, is to weld up the tech screw holes and grind back. Hopefully when the car's flipped on the jig, there won't be much dressing to do on the flip side of the floor pan, and indeed I'll take you down there now so you can see what the outcome's like. it should be reasonably flush with the weld and should have penetration too. Hold on well. Pete C from Cortina City adjusts himself on the floor, lying down on the floor. Now I'm pointing the camera up for you, looking at the position of the welds, and yes, every weld is through. I can see that looks like a really great join that's going to sand down dead easily. And looking at that down that run, I see a really nice, neat looking long join of welds all the way down. Very good. Putting the light further up, I like the look of that. It almost looks ready to go as it is now, and that's without it being dressed up. Gravitex, maybe a skim of alley filler, metal filler on it, perhaps. We'll see how it goes. It may not need it. Whilst I'm down on the floor, you can see the weld penetrations. People sending me messages saying the welder's not penetrating through on the bulkhead welds, on the tunnel welds and some other welds. But I don't understand what they mean. Either there's two explanations: they're not penetrating, or it's not getting across on YouTube very well. Is that not? I'm touching like a nugget. Does that not mean it's come through? If it's like that, help me out here, because I'm confused with these non-penetration comments. I don't know what you mean. What's this? How can I go any more? That's come right through it. I don't understand. Unless you mean it's gone too far through. Are these no good? I don't know. Let me know. I've got to grind them back, of course. I know that. But yeah, copper bar could go at the back, but there was no need. So some welds through for the tunnel. I would never be able to split that weld. I couldn't get that apart if I wanted to. And it's not the object of the exercise to make it structurally strong and then dress it after? Or do you mean that there should be zero dressing like perhaps that one? Or is that one that's not penetrated even though I feel a dimple? Maybe they mean that you try and get them all like that and not like that. Confused, I'm afraid I am. Well, I'm still learning about welding, so as long as the car structurally works and I've not made any botches, I don't think, I mean, I like the look of that. I couldn't have asked for more. If I'd have seen that, I'd have been well pleased. Okay, so that's that. There's the Portuguese red bonnet. We're going to get that blasted. We're underneath the car. Okay, going back up to do the rest of those welds. They've got to be done. Don't want to do them. Got to be done. And then this just misses. I think they're great what they've done with that floor pan. And it just falls a little short there. Yet it's right in terms of its position in the car. So it is off a facelift. I wonder if they just slightly had them shorter, or it's just been overcut perhaps. I don't know. I mean, really it should land right at the front. And it does, when you get down here, sit very flush in the recess. So the trade-off was you lost a bit here. So we're actually all right for the metal. It's just that we're going to have to fill those holes and it doesn't line up with this. But because it's quite a thick seam bead here, you'd never know that didn't join there. You'd have to be really looking out for it. And in fact, you could actually contour this edge so that it becomes a sort of curved shape. In fact, that's what I'll probably do. I'll probably just lightly trim that till it lands here, and then it looks like just one continuous line. That's a minor thing, and it's a minor point, considering that it could have gone all wrong for me under here, or up there, wherever we are. I'm pleased. Never done one before. I'm well made up. I couldn't be happier about the way that the floor pan's gone in. Totally pleased. Okay. Just a couple of cuts here and at the B-pillar bottom, and whoa! The sill falls off. Wow. I mean, really, there's not much holding it on, let's face it. It's just a bit of tangled metal now at the front. Just at the bottom of the A-pillar, left of it. So the sill's not needed, it really isn't. For the structure, believe me, it's not. We can now get the spot welder arms in and get the chassis leg on. Then we can start thinking about repairing that A-pillar bottom and putting the inner sill on. Nothing to stop the inner sill going on. Then you're going to start talking about getting some real strength back in there. Oh yeah, here we are. Step back then for you, the obligatory track wide shots, just so that everyone gets a fair crack at the pie. Crack at the pie. Crack pipe. Crack at the pie. Crack pipe. What the hell are we talking about? Right. One little cut to do on what remains of that sill. We keep it because it's got the dimensions written on it. Then we get our trusty spot welder and go along that chassis leg, spot welding, and plug weld and spot weld that bottom apron flange, and we're good. So let me swap the arms on the spot welder for the long reach, and then we'll get in. It's all prepped up and weld through primed as you saw, so we're good to go. Coming up now, spot welder. And if I had some measurements on the sill, it'd be something to rmind me. I wouldn't spend my life just wishing. It's not the way the floor fits, it's not the way of the world. Although there's something more. I'm now gonna get the spot welder and weld the blooming floor. If I had some measurements written on the sill, it'd be something to remind me. I wouldn't spend my life just wishing it didn't line up.